This is the 18-tone, 11-limit, just intonation guitar. Kind of a long title, but it deals with microtonality, a rather obscure topic in itself. But it's kind of a funny story about how this instrument was created. Over 4 years ago, when my Raga guitar was accidentally dropped off a workbench, I needed an interim guitar to continue playing Indian classical music on some level. Because playing with the parallel frets wrecked the tuning or the purity of Indian classical music. So at the time, I took the instrument to Scott Richter, who built the Raga guitar, and he was able to take off the original fingerboard, and I gave him the mathematics to place the frets for a 12-tone, 5-limit just intonation guitar. So after playing with 12 tones for about 6 months, I wanted to increase to a 14-tone octave, which then I took it back and he put a few more frets on. And after playing that for a few years, I wanted to fill out a little further to have 18 tones. So let me show you what an 18-tone, 11-limit just intonation scale sounds like. Very small tones, yeah? Actually quite strange. But just intonation deals with pure intervals. So for example, you have a major chord, it sounds quite lovely, beautifully in tune. But you can also get a little more interesting harmonies.
The guitar I first made for Matt was a standard 6-string instrument. He's had it about 20 years now. And a number of years ago, he asked another luthier, Scott Richter, to modify that guitar, modify the fretboard, and set it up to be played in just intonation.
It's like a black hole for time. And if you're trying to actually make a business of it, trying to do something that's completely different is not the way to be productive as far as making money. But for me, it was because it was different and because it was challenging. It was something that I had to sit down and learn about and figure out how to do. That was really the appeal in it for me. Besides just wanting to be involved in a different kind of music, I really thrive on those kind of problems when they come up. That's what really interests me. I would stay up late at night, searching around on the internet and working out different ways of doing it and figuring out different jigs for doing the fret work and everything. And that's what I really enjoyed. Monetarily, no, it's a huge mistake. But I really enjoyed doing it, and I learned a lot about doing it. Learned a lot while I was doing it. And besides that, it did help me learn ways of doing a standard guitar a little bit more efficiently, as far as getting the frets in and being able to dress them quickly and position them a little bit in closer tolerances and stuff like that.
What Scott has done is pretty impressive, setting up microtonal differences from note to note, and breaking up the frets across the fretboard. It's not something that I'm particularly interested in doing because it's a lot of work.
Just intonation is a subject all into itself. To give you a little overview, Pythagoras developed this theory 2,500 years ago. He basically took the string, divided it in half, and then divided it into thirds, and then into fifths, into sevenths, and so on. And he expressed the distances in whole number ratios. So for example, like 3/2 or 4/3. So these become musical distances that we can actually measure and hear with our ears. That's what makes just intonation so unique, is that essentially it's infinite as to how many tones you can have in an octave. For example, like Harry Partch decided on a 43-tone octave. And all the older musics from the Middle East, India, Asia, they all tuned in just intonation because that's what they heard. So there's something very sacred about just intonation. When I play music in just intonation, I feel my cells align. I really think of it as being something very, very medicinal for me. It enables me to hear how, when the birds sing, these very strange intervals and so forth. I recognize some of these relationships in just intonation, as strange as they may seem. It doesn't make equal temperament or the standard tuning with the parallel frets. It doesn't make it wrong. It's just a different set of parameters to work with them. It's just that I cannot get the same feeling from a chord like this in equal temperament. It just simply doesn't exist. So for me, it's just another set of parameters that enable me to search within myself to develop, philosophy and spirituality. And hopefully and ultimately to understand, the origins of my being, which is sound.
Matt called me up and played me a piece over the phone, and it was quite incredible. I was sold on the idea of doing it. I thought it was really quite wonderful.